Stan Gibilisco here, proprietor and operator of amateur radio station W1GV, Whiskey 1 Good Vibrations. I would like to offer a response to a comment that I received in my previous video entitled My Solar Backup, or about a product called My Solar Backup. The commenter seemed to indicate that as a newbie to ham radio, well, you can read it. He is a newbie to ham radio, and he said he can't understand why building a solar backup myself shouldn't be so hard. He says that, well, just read his comment. He was a little bit snide or snarky, even though he said, I don't mean to be snarky. Well, you know what's going to follow when somebody says that, but whether or not he was being snide to me or had anything to do with me personally, it is not of consequence to me or this video, but it should be of consequence to every new ham radio amateur or aspiring radio amateur, and that is one of the most important aspects of amateur radio is that we are amateurs, experimenters. We do things for ourselves quite a bit. We shouldn't be, or ideally shouldn't be, mere appliance operators, although many of us are, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that. If the objective is communications, even just because you think ham radio and radio itself is cool. You can buy a pre-made, commercially manufactured item, or you can design it yourself, and there's certainly no requirement that you design it yourself or that you not. The only requirement is that it meets certain codes, maybe at the local level, building codes, enacted by the Federal Communications Commission and all of this. But the point is that we should, as radio amateurs, in the ideal case, be willing to try new things and test new things for ourselves. And I do most of my experimenting these days with antenna systems and very little building other circuits. Although I did in high school and college build a lot of circuits and contrive a lot of things and even design new things, particularly with regards to radio teletype, as it was called, RIDI, the old 66 or 60 baud, I believe they called it, teletype and teleprinters, and I had a lot of fun modifying my Drake R4A T4X line, and a lot of things that I did experimentally. I don't do anymore. This commenter is exhibiting a long-lost aspect of the spirit of ham radio that I remember people bemoaning that loss even 40 years ago and 50 years ago when I was a new ham. Where have all the innovators and experimenters gone? Well, they haven't disappeared, but there are a lot fewer of them than they used to be, certainly not as they were in the very early days of amateur radio. There are a lot of appliance operators nowadays, and some of them never touch a soldering iron or handle things on their own at all. Some of them just plug a store-bought item into a wall outlet and connect the other end to an antenna and connect the third end to a microphone and start blabbing, and sometimes not listening enough. But I was listening to this particular commenter, listening with my eyes as I read his comment, and said, to myself, "Sir, you'll make a fine radio ham. You'll make a radio ham of the sort that we need more of in this hobby of ours. We need innovators and experimenters, and as a newbie to ham radio, I welcome you to the fraternity and wish you all the best, and hope you create some new type of ham radio device of your own and enjoy the hobby in that way." And then it occurred to me also that although I was contemplating the possibility of buying a pre-made power backup system, I know exactly how I would design a solar backup myself, right down to where I would put the solar panels on the house, how I would connect the batteries, what sorts of batteries I would use, and how I would operate the whole apparatus for this particular location. I know exactly what I would do, and maybe I should do it that way, and now I am considering it. Again, I'd forgotten that I can still design things for myself and use them for myself, and sometimes that's the best way to go. You can develop something for your own needs yourself that's better and more adapted to your needs than any commercial device could possibly be. So thank you for that comment, sir, and I hope every radio ham, aspiring, new, and old-timer alike, reads it and understands exactly what you're talking about. You've already got a lot of the attributes of an old-time veteran ham, sir. But again, welcome to our fraternity. Stan Jabalisco, W1GV, saying 73, and so long, which, in my native fist, on CW, always translates, regardless of what type of equipment I use, into da-da-da-da-da-da.